In the previous lecture, I posed the question, how are you going to handle a private machine learning model package? What if you're going to be publishing something that has sensitive intellectual property? And the answer to that is private index servers. We're going to be using a service called Gemfury to achieve this. So go ahead and visit gemfury.com and sign up for a free 2-week trial. You can sign up for free. I'm going to log in. And once you've created your account, go to tokens and create a full access token. Now you'll need this soon afterwards. It's possible to specify push tokens for uploading and deploy tokens for read-only access. And if you were going to do this in a real project, then you would definitely use that. But for learning purposes here, we'll just make do with a full access grant token. Now, an important gotcha when you're using these tokens is the URL structure. The Gemfury private index server is going to be your token : @pipi.fury.io / your username. So I'll put this in the lecture notes, but you're going to need this full URL, and don't make the mistake of just thinking the token alone is sufficient. You need this whole thing. Okay, if we visit our repo and go to the model package, we've made a few adjustments. In our tox file, if we scroll down, we now have this new publish model environment with the command here, first training the model and then triggering this publish model bash script. If we look at the bash script, there's quite a lot going on in this script and the details don't really matter, but a few things to note. We need to specify the Gemfury push URL environment variable, and that's what we were just looking at in Gemfury. And this is the key line. We run the Python setup, which here just refers to setup py, sdist bdist wheel. And you'll recall from section 5, this is the command we ran to build our package. And whenever we run this command, you're then going to find in the regression model directory a distribution directory. And that's why we're then looking inside the distribution directory for this last part of the command, which is a curl to upload files to our Gemfury URL. So it looks complicated, but what we're doing is build the package, upload the package. Now, as we've talked about a lot in this course, we want to be automating this process to avoid manual steps, which of course result in human error. And the way we've done it, if we go back to our config YAML file and look at our workflows, we have this test and upload regression model job. Now, first thing to note is that it's only going to run in this tags only filter. What this filter means is that we're only going to trigger this job in CI when we create a tag in GitHub. If you're not familiar with Git tags, I'll put some links in the lecture notes, but it's just a specific thing that you can trigger in Git, and it gives us a way to differentiate from a normal pull request or a normal merge to the master branch and publishing an update to the model. Okay, let's look at this job. First up, we have a tox command to fetch the data. This is another new addition. If we go back to the tox file, we have this fetch command, and we're using the Kaggle CLI, which is an official command line interface that the Kaggle company has put together, and we're using that to download the house prices advanced regression techniques dataset, and then we unzip it. Right, so the reason why we need to do this is that we've not committed the training data to Git, and this is good practice. In a real life scenario, this Kaggle call might be replaced with the AWS CLI and bringing in training data from an S3 bucket, or making a database call, whatever you need to do to fetch your training data. Once we've got the data, we can then run the tests, and this should be familiar. This is just our standard tox command. The only thing to note is that we do have a few more environment variables that we have to pass into the tox file, namely the Kaggle username and the Kaggle key, as well as the Gemfury push URL that we were just looking at. And the Kaggle information can all be found in your Kaggle account. If you go to account, and here we go, create new API token, and this will generate an API token for you. And then the last step is to publish our model. So in summary, our workflow would be that in our model package, we would make some kind of change, then we'd bump the version. Here you see we've created this new version 4.0.2, open a pull request, the tests would run, you'd merge the pull request and create a tag, and that would trigger a publish job. The limitation here is that you wouldn't be able to make, at least in this monorepo format, a change to the house prices API and the model package simultaneously. In reality, it's much more likely that your model package would be a totally separate GitHub repo and your application would be a separate repo. So this would feel a bit more natural, but for the purposes of learning, the monorepo structure is quite beneficial. Okay, so quite a bit to take in there, and in the next couple of lectures, we'll look at how you can try this yourself with a fork of the example repo.